Hello everyone, my name is Yoshimitsu, and welcome to the Japanese lore of Kingsfield. As the title implies, I will be referring to the original Japanese text over the translated English text. If there are any discrepancies between the versions, I will always take what the original Japanese states as fact. I take this approach as many lore elements have been lost due to translation, and I'm hoping that I can bring some answers to long debated and unanswered lore questions and bring some new theories as well. Let's begin. This video will be regarding the two dragons, Guyra, the Black Dragon, and Seath, the White Dragon. First, I will begin with their creation. In a location named the Place of Beginning is a tree, and this tree states this in regards to the creation. This world of Valicia was created by Silval. Silval put Elwyn to rule over the ocean, Elfos to rule over the sky, and Vallad to rule over the earth. After many years, Elwyn and Elfos returned to Silval. Only Vallad remained on the earth to rule. Vallad created the elves and the dwarves to inhabit Valicia. Next, he created the other creatures, and later, men. They all lived in peace at first, but soon, men began to drive the elves and the dwarves to remote places. Men began to fight among themselves, and Valicia was thrown into turmoil. After careful contemplation, Vallad revealed himself to men as Seath and Guyra. Seath became the object of worship, and Guyra became the object of hatred. Vallad was pleased at first. So the two dragons, Guyra and Seath, are two halves of Vallad. In this tree is the materialization of Vallad's will. The truth glass states, the materialization of the will of Vallad. The tree will impart the knowledge and power of the gods upon the chosen one. The two dragons, Guyra and Seath, are the two halves of Vallad. The dragon grass from the High Elf Shrine states, these two dragons have fought each other for so long that they no longer have the energy to continue fighting. Now this statement, that they no longer have the energy to continue fighting, is 均衡するその力は直接影響できないほどになった. In Japanese, 均衡する translates to balanced or equilibrium. The dragon grass should state, these two dragons have fought each other for so long, and their powers had become so great, they were at an equilibrium and could not directly affect each other. This equilibrium led to the two dragons creating weapons for a warrior to wield against each other. The dragon grass from the High Elf Shrine states, thus, Guyra made the Moonlight Sword to kill Seath, and Seath made the Dark Slayer to kill Guyra. They have both been waiting for the chosen warrior who has enough power to wield these weapons. So now, I'd like to review these two weapons Guyra and Seath created. First, the Dark Slayer. The Dark Slayer reads, Leon Shore made this sword out of the black crystal left behind by Guyra. It contains all the magical power except light. The statement, the black crystal left behind by Guyra, is Shisu no nokoshita kurosuisho. Shisu is the name Seath. Nokoshita translates left. Kurosuisho translates to black crystal. In the original Japanese, it wasn't Guyra that left behind the black crystal for the Dark Slayer. It was Seath that left the black crystal to create the Dark Slayer. Merrill states this regarding the Dark Slayer. The sword is made of the dark crystal, which was granted by the White Dragon Seath. It is made of 4 attributes: fire, wind, earth, and water. This is the only weapon effective against Guyra, who has the light attribute sword. An entire statement is missing from the English statement that Merrill makes regarding the Dark Slayer. She states, if Merlin was not defeated by Galthfi, this sword would have appeared into this world much sooner. So in the original Japanese version, Meryl clearly states the High Elf warrior Merlin was defeated by Galthfi. And Seath was likely aware that Merlin would not be able to defeat Guyra. Meryl states, the High Elf warrior Merlin was called the Dragon of the Woods. However, he was not strong enough to defeat Guyra. Seath had known this. One thing that I'd like to point out regarding this High Elf warrior Merlin. The High Elf warrior Merlin is the same as the undead warrior we fight in the Royal Cemetery. And that undead warrior is Meryl The Truth Mirror states this regarding Meryl He used to be admired by many elves because of his devotion to Seath and his superior fighting skills. He is now dreaded as he came back as an undead. He wanders around mournfully, seeking Guyra's will in the cemetery. Now the name Meryl is Mereru in Japanese. The name Merlin is also Mereru in Japanese. The name of the High Elf warrior Mereru was translated as Merlin in Kingsfield 1, and then was translated as Meryl in Kingsfield 2. Now, Meryl was brought back as an undead to destroy Guyra. Seath's sword reads, the sword of Meryl hero of the High Elves. This sword has the sharpest blade of all the weapons. It was presented to by Seath. The English statement cuts out a statement from the original Japanese, which is, Seath revived Meryl as an undead to destroy Guyra. And the Truth Mirror also confirms that Meryl is seeking Guyra's will. The Truth Mirror states, he wanders around mournfully, seeking Guyra's will in the cemetery. But as an undead, Meryl was not able to find and destroy Guyra's will. Will of Guyra appears again in Kingsfield Additional 1 and Kingsfield Additional 2. Unlike the first 3 Kingsfield games, the 2 additional games takes place in a country called Rikistria. The opening to Kingsfield Additional 1 states, in the southern part of the continent, in Rikistria, is a labyrinth called the Holy Land. Deep within this labyrinth is a tree that bears high resemblance to the dragon grass trees. The dragon grass tree states, I can sense the will of Guyra in this land. And even though Guyra was defeated by Alexander on Melanat Island, the spirit or the will of Guyra lives on. And I believe the reason for this lies with the Moonlight Sword. The Moonlight Sword reads, Vallad made this sword with the light magic. The famous holy sword, owned by King Alfred, will revitalize man's spirit and health. The statement, Vallad made this sword with the light magic, is Hikari no ryu Guyra ga mizukara no bunshin toshite tsukutta in Japanese. Hikari translates to light. Ryu translates to dragon. Guyra is the name Guyra. Mizukara translates to oneself. Bunshin can translate to avatar, clone, or copy. Tsukutta translates to made. Therefore, the text for the Moonlight Sword should read, Guyra, the Dragon of Light, made this sword as its avatar. Vallad did not create the Moonlight Sword. Guyra, the Dragon of Light, created the Moonlight Sword. And this Moonlight Sword is an avatar or manifestation of Guyra. Meryl states this regarding Guyra. Guyra is now sleeping to regain his energy. The warrior called the Guard is defending the passageway to Guyra. And I theorize the creation of the Moonlight Sword, an avatar of Guyra, required a great amount of energy from Guyra. And this is why I believe he is sleeping, to regain his energy. Seath, on the other hand, did not create the Dark Slayer. Leon Shore created the Dark Slayer using the Dark Crystal that Seath left. And based off of this theory, Seath was completely destroyed by Lyle. Guyra was also destroyed by Alexander on Melanat Island. But as the Moonlight Sword was not, the will of Guyra lived on through the Moonlight Sword. As long as the Moonlight Sword exists, the will of Guyra will also live on. The will of Guyra was able to possess an Elder Dark Elf, and later on, in the second game, possessed an Elder Scholar. Both forms of Guyra were ultimately defeated, but as long as the Moonlight Sword exists, the will of Guyra will always exist. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please let me know what you think in the comments regarding my video for Kingsfield. I do love reading and listening to other people's lore theories, so please do. And until we meet again in my next video, don't you dare go hollow.